but we are going to see back to basics here when it comes into the draft. Felios is open. Logan will get his hands on it, and he is looking happy on your screen.
He's like, they let it through, guys. I can't believe it. This is unreal. Locks it in. And we'll see now if DMO will fall into the same trap. If they'll pick the Kalista just because it's open, or if they do lean towards something like the Ezreal instead. I mean, there's also the option to just leave that AD carry pick until third, and it gives you a bit more time to figure out what you're up against.
Seeing Xiaopeng here, I imagine you're going to go back towards your AD carry here. I like the Ezreal. I would prefer to see Ezreal here. It just means that you're not guaranteeing yourself into any sort of point in the game, right? You can still wave or get through the early game with an Ezreal. You just don't try and fight particularly much. But then when you get to that mid game, you're looking super strong. And whereas if you go towards the Kalista, you need to have this aggressive style where you want to be getting onto JDG, and not locking yourself into that composition right now works quite well. There we go.
Graves comes through for Kanavi. This is what we've been wanting to see. We have seen it a few times already from him, but it's very much like when I saw Graves coming into the meta, the first person I thought of was Kanavi. It's like, great, scaling carry jungler, it's perfect.
And because of how quickly he can farm through his jungle, you even see, I mean, as we talked about, the laners Zoom and Yagao giving up some of their farm and some of their experience to help get him ahead. So this feels perfect. And now we're seeing Luma's better. This is like the champions you associate with each of these JDG players picked up for them right now.
This is absolutely beautiful from the side of JDG. We get Lumao's Bard, which is a masterpiece every single time. It's what he got the MVP for Spring 2020 Finals on. And we get to witness it once more. Xiaopeng goes for the Lee Sin to round out their first rotation here, and now we move into the second phase of the battles.
I am just watching Kanavi's summoners. He does have the Ignite. I expect him to change to Flash, but I know after the E-Stars
like
one,
this.
I'm a little bit concerned.
He's got a month's salary on the line here, boys.
Yeah.
At least he has the Smite.
Yeah, he's still got Smite. He'll still be useful, but I don't know if he wants to take the Ignite.
It's possible. Right, let's move on from the summoners. We can come back to that. He's got plenty of time to change it. LeBlanc taken off the board. This time JDG, they're giving Twyla a hint. They're like, look, the Azir's not working for you. Go for something else, mate.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where you're kind of going, okay, if you're going to ban away an Azir, JDG are probably going to be looking for this very heavy engage style of composition where you already kind of expect it when you've got Lumao on this Bard. He's very good at setting up for these engages or even finding picks. But if you think about it, look, you can go back towards this Volley Bearer Zoom, you can go towards something like the Ornn as well and have this very strong engage and team fight style that JDG have been looking for in their last couple of seasons.
What I would love to see here is Chalitza throw down the gauntlet, lock in the Volley Bear yourself, pick it blind. And I'd love to see Zoom then go for the Ornn and basically say, look, I'm willing to take this matchup. I'm willing to see the other side of it. But no, we see Twyla going for the Corki, very standard passive mid lane.
The Wukong is still up and available though, so there is the opportunity here for Zoom to just go towards that Wukong, and maybe you don't see the likes of the Volley Bear come through for Chalitza, so maybe you have a Renekton come over instead, and it kind of throws at least a little bit of the wrench in the works for DMO, but it still gives them a nice two-atom spike that they can run off with their composition. And it looks like JDG are going to go towards that Wukong. We'll have to see what they decide to pick up here for Yagao.
I like that they're optimizing here from JDG because you can see Zoom has the Aphelios, Yagao has the Bard, so they've got to lock in the top laner for Loken and the mid laner for Lumao, so that the traits, there's only 2 traits that are needed there. It's optimization. I like the min-maxing here for JDG.
I mean, that's what separates the good and the great, right? Is figuring out exactly how to min-max your draft. But we are going to see potentially the Sylas here locked in for Yagao. In against the Corki, they can do reasonably well, can farm up okay, and then you've got, as we talked about, that heavy dive style of composition from JDG, which is kind of indicative from the Azir ban, but definitely they are looking to get into your face and try and just cause so much disruption in these fights.
Chalitza goes with the Ornn once again for a second game here. We don't get to see the Volley Bear, unfortunately. But hey, we still get to see some pretty interesting compositions. I'm a little bit worried about Loken, though, in this one, because as his team dives in, he could be left out to dry a little bit.
He definitely could be. I think he should be relatively okay, though. There's not really too many people on DMO's side that can pressure that back line. As you talk about, like Twyla is going to get rockets pumped into the likes of Zoom, into Yagao, and even Kanavi to a certain extent. Looking at Shubin as well, he'll be firing into the front line. So Loken should have a reasonably good time in positioning. It's not like you're up against, like, say, a LeBlanc or a Syndra who can put pressure onto the back line.
Look, all I'm going to say, Dagda, is Kanavi hadn't changed his Ignite.
Yeah, that's I'm a little bit worried about. I'm not...
We'll see.
Are you sure?
We'll see as we get into game. We could see him messing about with Lumao. They were trading the Bard and the Graves back and forth. This feels intentional to me because he had Flash in the last game. He's not like still stuck on Ignite and Smite, so we could see some seriously aggressive jungling coming out from Kanavi, which is exactly what I'd love to see in this matchup. Bear in mind, this was our head-to-head, the jungle diff between Kanavi and Xiaopeng. Xiaopeng, actually, stats-wise, had looked better so far this split than Kanavi. In this series, though, Kanavi definitely with the edge so far.
Yeah, Kanavi's been doing a great job as of right now in dictating that map control, and I think in this game he should be able to do so again. What you've got so far is a very aggressive team fight from JDG where you are trying to get in with that Wukong. You are still waiting a little bit for this Aphelios to come online, obviously the main damage dealer, but your Graves will give you a lot of skirmish power here towards that top side alongside the mid picks here for Yagao. So I think you can definitely have a lot of these Rift Herald fights that weren't quite going JDG's way in the last one, at least have a bit more control in this time.
Man, I would just love to see a little bit more life out of DMO. Look, the Observer's seen it as well. Kanavi has gone for the Smite Ignite. There's a month's salary gone, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, he has the Ignite. Sorry, he has the Smite, which is the big thing.
This is on purpose.
Well, I haven't seen it before.
There's no way it's not on purpose, right? He had Flash in the last game. He had Flash Smite in the last game. So he's gone into a lobby and he has actively changed that summoner.
What if he wanted to pick Shaco and couldn't get it?
Well, he could get it. He has all the champions unlocked. It definitely wasn't bad.
Maybe he was like, look, I'm going to stick on this if you don't pick me Shaco. But
I mean, you've got Quick Draw, right? And he's got Phase Rush. Maybe he's just deciding, look, I don't need the Flash. Well, I'm willing. I'm an open-minded guy, Doctor. I'm open to the possibility.
At least for me. I'm looking at like these hooks. I'm looking at this big engage from the Ornn, and if you don't have Flash, like right now, you'll be in a little bit of trouble.
We've got a little bit of a weird audio thing going on, but we'll be able to fix that hopefully for you guys. And we've got First Blood coming up, I've just been told by the announcer. It's going to go the way of Xiaopeng. Yagao going down to start this one off.
This is not the start for JDG, but well played by DMO to spot out that this was potentially going to happen. And I mean, this is probably something that they've realized when you do see the Ignite and Smite. Kanavi, at least with this combo, should be looking to be more aggressive. I mean, it's what you expect from junglers who use this, like that Shaco, who wants to get into your face, wants to try and duel you. So having the phase rush here as well to try and keep up with Xiaopeng. But when we get to the later stage fights...
Oh, nice catch there from Loken. It was going to go wide, but he managed to step into it at the last possible second.
Yeah, well, you can see anyway, still that Guardian with the buffs that it's gotten are doing a lot of work right now in the bottom lane. It's currently, because they're at that level 1, you've got 80 shield rather than the 70 shield you had before, but it's more the tether range, or the trigger range even, is so much higher that it becomes super hard to try and trade against it at these early stages.
Yeah, it can be very difficult, especially during the early laning phase. DMO, with that First Blood going on to Xiaopeng, they're going to be feeling good about that one. And I'm hoping, off the back of that, I'm hoping Xiaopeng will be a little bit aggressive in this early game and try and snowball that lead. Once he's been able to recall, grab his jungle item, I'm hoping he'll be quite aggressive and maybe try and 1v1 Kanavi a bit.
Well, we're going to have to see how this does go, but here we go.
I don't think it's going anywhere. Twyla already flashing, but Lumao to follow in with the Q, but it's only going to be a slow. Yagao gets the kill, though. Xiaopeng in 1v3 and gets a kill. So actually trading it back.
1 for 1, and both of those mid laners going down. With where the wave is, it's going to be a win for Twyla. Top lane, got some trading going on.
Actually, I thought it was going to win the trade, but in the end, one last little staff slam from Zoom and a flash with a death sentence. Xiaopeng is already huge right here. The TP is suboptimal to say the least. Jumps into the middle of 3 of them, but Kanavi is here DPSing away. Shubin jumps into the fight as well. Loken is here on Aphelios and could sweep up some kills right now. He's looking for Belisa, but he won't be able to get onto him. Mitsuki, sorry. At least he's a different player from a different league. In they go, but back Yagao is once more. Xiaopeng will fall as well, and Loken grabs his first.
That was so messy.
What is this series?
I don't know what's going on, but when we look at it, okay, Twyla has now got 2 kills. Oh wait, we're not done. Lumao is still hunting here.
Oh my goodness, Twyla's here. No flash available. I think Valk's on cooldown as well. And Lumao steals the kill.
Yep, I suppose.
I guess
that's where we're going.
The really daft thing is there's not even an objective available. No. There is no reason for these guys to be fighting.
I mean, we've fallen a long way from JDG being the smartest team, haven't we? But we are looking at, okay, so 2 kills have gone over towards Xiaopeng. He's got nicely into position now where with these extra kills and how Graves would like to get involved in his jungle, try and get this Ignite to work for him. Xiaopeng having 2 kills will get him into a decent spot where he can survive relatively well against any sort of aggression from Kanavi. You're looking at Twyla as well, who's now got 2 kills himself, working very quickly to stack up this tier, go towards the Triforce like the last game. So when all is said and done, I kind of like that Twyla's getting fed and getting to a point where he'll be strongest, because you want to be building off the 2-item spike on DMO, Twyla and Shubin. That's where a lot of your damage is going to come online. So if you've got some of these items coming on quicker and faster, you can look to use these big engages like Chalitza. And now you're looking at, when we go to these fights, Kanavi not having flashes available. You're going to be looking at Loken, who can struggle a little bit because of these big Ornn ultimates and being pushed back thanks to pressure from Zuki and Xiaopeng. Look, I'm really liking the way DMO are playing this.
Yeah, I'm liking it so far. JDG on the other hand, I mean, let's be honest, the gold is dead even right now. So certainly no massive advantage on either side of the board, because when we look at the mid laners as well, it's just about dead even in CS. It's just about dead even in the scoreline as well. It's important to take that cull into account as well, though. Twyla is very much investing in the later stages.
It is hilarious, though, that both mid laners are below the junglers in CS because of all the funny business that has been going on. But yeah, the cull coming in, as we talked about, look, DMO, we're looking to scale to that 2 item, so you've got time to get that cull to pop and then be useful. But we go Zoom top lane.
He already used the Warrior Trick, so that's going to be the Cyclone used now as well. Chalitza gets the knock up here. Xiaopeng with the Sonic Wave in. Will find his hat trick now. Kanavi wants to answer, but he can't do anything 2v1.
He doesn't have that level 6 either.
Oh,
Lumao is here.
It ain't 2v1. It's 2v2 right now. Lumao is going to get knocked up. Sonic Wave on in as well. So close to finishing him off, and Chalitza going to flash to try and get the kill. Not the greatest flash, I have to admit, but they might still be able to finish this one off. Exhaust down onto Xiaopeng. There's a Volcanic Rupture, and now onto Kanavi as well. Sonic Wave would finish the job. He's not going to find it. Hook goes down, though, because Yagao is looking to answer. He's got a couple of rockets to work with. Not the ideal ultimate for a Silas here. Xiaopeng walks away. There's nothing Yagao can do 1v3.
Very well played from DMO. Mitsuki getting the play on Yagao, stopping him from closing the distance, and they managed to get that kill onto Zoom. Nearly get a kill onto Kanavi as well, so DMO, they're about 1,000 gold up already, with Twyla still shoving this mid lane.
And, you know, I've just realized that Corki ultimate is actually pretty decent in a long fight for Silas, because it procs his passive. So he's able to, like, I think he gets, what is it, 7 rockets or something?
Yeah. He basically gets the full armory, but Shubin able to arcane shift away. Actually flashes. I'm surprised. Loken already backed away.
Yeah,
so Shubin just being a bit wary, wasn't entirely certain that he's going to be able to escape away from that. So Lumao gets that flash, and this has been an action-packed early game, Munch.
I think the phrase you're looking for is fiesta. This has been an absolute fiesta.
I'm trying to put a positive spin. I feel like I've been a little bit negative this series, I'm not going to lie. And
like, positive or negative, this is not exactly the highest quality League of Legends we've ever seen. Out of JDG of all teams, this is not what you typically expect.
As bad as it sounds, it does look like a bottom of the table brawl, doesn't it?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the teams, DMO, you expect that. But right now, JDG, we have to remember, these guys are 1 and 2 on the scoreboard. They are not playing so far they split like the Spring Champions.
Not at all. They will get this Dragon, though, and at least start themselves onto the right track going towards that Dragon Soul. So we're going to be looking at either the Ocean or the Cloud in this game. And Ocean Soul will definitely be contested on both sides. But I'm liking the way, as we said, the DMO will scale towards that point where you're fighting for that third dragon. You got Twyla and Shubin who'll be super strong at that stage. So as long as you're not having Loken accelerated like he was in the last game, DMO can look to exploit that.
And also, they've got an Ezreal this time, so even if Loken does start to scale really well, at least they can match it somewhat. At least Shubin is also going to scale exceptionally. And with Coles in 2 lanes, like, honestly, DMO look great in the late game, if they can get to that point.
You do have the Ornn as well, which can help them, and Twyla would definitely do a lot of work when we do get to that later point, so I still give that late game slightly to DMO, but it is close.
There is a Dark Passage available, so it's going to be safe as Kanavi moves in towards this bottom side of the map. Hooked up, and it's going to do absolutely nothing, because he still gets the ward anyway. But Kanavi just trying to pressure, because he knows Xiaopeng already got the Herald. Now they're moving in onto Zoom in the mid lane. Sonic Wave. Got the wrong one, though. And Xiaopeng actually uses that to get himself to safety. Not going to commit to the Herald.
But you can see that JDG have swapped up the lane assignments here with Yagel moving towards the top lane. This is actually something we see a lot in the LCK, the Sylas versus Ornn. And you can survive relatively well as the Sylas here against the Ornn. Plus you've got access then a lot of the time to that ultimate from Chalitza. So if the Ornn tries to TP down, you've got 2 Call of the Forge Gods to try and answer for those plays. But it does mean Zoom will not have the best of times against Twyla, because has that Tiamat now, so can clear relatively well under the turret, but Wukong still struggles when he's consistently shoved in, which is what Twyla will be looking to do.
Well, Xiaopeng's moved up to the top side of the map, and I think they're going to be able to just finish this tower off before Zoom ever arrives. Very nicely done here by DMO. And for the second game running here, they're the ones to get the first tower.
Mitsuki's in mid here. I was trying to see if he was going to go for anything spectacular, but unfortunately not able to make it work. And it does give, with all that pressure on the top side, time for Kanavi to move in and try and steal away a blue buff, but you're losing towers. You're not really worried about a blue buff.
Yep. Bonus charge there onto the tier 2 as well. Not going to be too impactful, but it's always nice to have. Shubin once again feeling the pressure in this bottom side of the map. Dark Passage is terrible from Mitsuki, but it's going to be good enough. Now pulling them in, gets the fly onto Lumao, forces the flash. Twyla has arrived. Yagao is waiting off in the wings. I don't think this is a particularly good fight anymore. Tempered Fate now onto Twyla. There's no follow-up available. Chalitza arrives, gets the knock-up onto Loken. They're going to try and turn this one. Double stun from Lumao. And this is why we call him the Bard King.
Oh, Shubin taken very low. So Xiaopeng.
Xiaopeng's in trouble. Zoom. I don't think he can quite finish this kill off, though. Safeguard to the ward. And Xiaopeng gets away barely.
Just about, but it is still JDG coming out on top in that fight. Now they should be able to crack open this bottom lane turret as well. Answer for the one that was taken on the top side. And JDG again, early game, not so hot, but it starts to get to that 12 to 15 minute mark and they're coming online again.
They're feeling good about this one. Look at the CS difference in the bottom lane. You have to bear in mind, Kanavi has been sat there the entire time. So it's not like Shubin can't CS, but ultimately, that is a huge lead when it comes to the AD characters.
Xiaopeng on this top side. Once Zoom shows, Xiaopeng could go in, but Chalitza actually shoves that wave super quick, so Zoom says, right, I'm going to back right the way away from this and just collect it underneath my turret for safety. So JDG are going to hold on for a moment. You still got a minute until that dragon is up and available. You got that teleport for Zoom, which is why he's now in that top lane against Chalitza once again.
So let's just revisit the fact that this is 2 games in a row now, Dagda, that DMO are able to get a gold lead in the early game against JDG. But last time around, it was about this point in the game. It was the second Herald, it was the second Dragon that things started to swing the way of JDG.
But I think here DMO should still gift over this second Dragon. Look at the items that Shubin has. He is so far behind where he wants to be right now that the Ezreal is going to do no damage in these fights. You kind of have a point where Twyla is starting to come online, but unfortunately, just with that Ezreal in the position they're in, I think DMO need to hang on for a little bit until Ezreal comes on.
I think also, ultimately, there's no rush, right? This one Mountain Drake is not going to change the game for you. You have a ton of scaling across your entire team. You don't need this second Drake. There is no reason for you to risk losing a fight over this second Drake. DMO, I beg you, do not fight for this second Drake.
They're going to fight for the second Drake.
I know.
They move Chalitza down. They're looking for the engage here.
They're going to go for it anyway. JDG are here.
Look at where Twyla is, though. He's stuck underneath this tier 2, so Not going to have him here for a little moment. No TP, but now walking across as Zoom joins in the kerfuffle as well.
You know what, Dagda? Forget the Drake. Let's ARAM. That's what this is all about right now. Twyla's moved in. They're going to be spotted on this control ward. Just going to clear vision for now. DMO are the ones that have vision control of the Drake. They're going to pull it out of the pit as well.
So Twyla does have package, which can at least help with the deficit that this Ezreal's in, but needs to find a really strong engage, or at least a big moment to use this as Twyla to try and save this fight.
It's important to say as well, Chalitza will be able to do a lot to disrupt
Dragon's
this fight, and JDG, they're going to respect the lead that DMO have, I guess. I really feel like if they could have got a flank from Zoom, this could have been a beautiful fight. They had a ward behind the Dragon Pit.
And they have so much engage here as well. With Yagao seeing what they call it, the Forge God, you got Zoom with that double Cyclone. It could have just been a case of your seed for days and JDG can clean up, but they're not opting to go first.
Partly though, like exactly what we said about DMO kind of applies to JDG as well, right? Look, we're not in the position where we have priority. We scale pretty damn well. We got a Graves, we got a Silas, we've got an Aphelios as well. We don't need to risk a fight that could go horrifically here. I heard the Ornhorn. Oh, it was in the mid lane from Yagao.
I think the Observer got confused as well. It's like, checks notes. It's like, no, it's the Ornn who has that.
I'm sure none of these champions are Ornn.
But it's still... Oh, actually, I was going to say Loken. Yeah, he's still fine in this top lane. I thought the DMO might have committed, but not going to be the case. And we're still looking at this point where the Ezreal isn't looking too strong compared to Loken. He's going to have that Zeal worked very quickly into his kit. At that stage, you're kind of missing your mark as Ezreal.
Do you know what, Dexter? I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that we've got this Smite Ignite jungler and we've seen basically no action from it. This feels completely unimpactful so far.
Well, it's hard, right? He tried to get in and make that play in the early stage of the game, got buried first because Yagao got caught out. Then he wasn't really able to do too much. Now we're getting into these team fights where he's going to struggle against the engages of Chalitza, has to be careful with Suki hooks, and I'm still convinced that this might have just been an error, but if it's not, this is not how aggressive you needed to play this, and definitely not having Zoom and Yagao play towards him to enable the Ignite means that, again, he's just going to be in a weird spot.
Perhaps it's just like a, I don't have to build Mortal Reminder, I can kill an Aphelios kind of deal. Here we go, Shubin's oh my goodness gracious. What is that? Yagao just annihilates Shubin. Now onto the Herald, Xiaopeng realizes he's got to get out of dodge. Zoom in a 1v1 that he is not winning against Chalitza right now. But Yagao could just 1v5, but Suki in a whole bunch of trouble. The box did so much damage from Yagao. And ultimately, Kanavi got the Herald.
And they picked it up. So now JDG can move in towards his mid lane turret, crack that open. Yagao is putting pressure on the top side too.
I want to take something back that I said before, Dagda. If Yagao can do that kind of damage, there was no reason to wait on the previous strike. They could have just fought. I was not expecting that level of burst.
Yeah, well, they do get the charge in the mid lane. They're still looking to crack through this. Chalitza can't really do too much. Twyla is eventually going to clear the wave, but it's too little too late. And JDG now still putting their stamp on this game. That gold lead that is still relatively even is now starting to get slightly in favor of JDG.
Yeah, and basically all of it is in Yagao's pocket based on his damage. And, well, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried here because Shubin hasn't looked particularly good so far this series, and a lot of this win condition for DMO is in his pocket.
And the thing is, Ezreal actually does relatively okay against this Aphelios. The whole idea is that you can use these Mystic shots, you can use these auto attacks and just stay out of range of the Aphelios, scale to your 2 items where you become incredibly strong, and then you can take over in team fights. But Shubin, not quite able to do that when it came to this game. Now he's in trouble.
Uh-oh. That is a lot of damage onto Xiaopeng. He's kicked back and runs away. Nice splash on the collateral damage, and Twyla's there to keep him safe as well. Yagao makes the attempt. And that's the Ignite burn from Kanavi.
So Summoner Spell for Summoner Spell. When all is said and done, Flash gone, Ignite gone. And you did get the 2 ultimates out from JDG. Now, they will be back up in time for the Dragon, but maybe not Lumao's Bard ult.
That's a little too close to comfort on that one. If I saw that correctly, Bard ult actually stops you taking Scryer's Bloom. It had a little golden glow around it. I think it maybe makes Scryer's Bloom invincible too.
Yeah. I mean, it's not been It's not really a trade I consider, to be honest. If you, I don't think it's worth using a Bardo to save your
But you could
Scryos
do it
blue.
on like a blast cone or something. If it does work that way, I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but it looked like there was like a golden glow around it. Not the full Zhonya's
Or you
effect,
could
but
ult the person running away and then shoot the blast cone. And then just kill the person.
or you could ult the blast cone for style points. Now you're thinking with portals. Your cow is in a little bit of trouble here, but it looks like DMO not going to be willing to pull the trigger. They don't have vision on enough members of JDG. In the meantime, while they're committing 3 members top lane for nothing, Dragon is spawning on the other side of the map, and Kadavi's going to start this one off.
Yeah, they're going to be here to collect it nice and early. And yeah, as you said, you're committing several members towards top side. Off of the back of what they just saw at Yagao, though, I'm pretty sure they don't want to fight against JDGs. And you have that teleport available for Yagao, so they're like, look, we're going to gift over the second dragon anyway. Try and get to a point where we can actually fight against this team. But right now is not where we're comfortable.
So let's revisit the conversation of these power spikes for DMO here, because when you look at the scoreboard right now, we've got a Triforce and a Mura Mana for Twyla. We've got the Mana Moon finished now for Shubin alongside his Frozen Gauntlet. So he's going to be feeling, or Iceborne Gauntlet, sorry. They're going to start to actually feel a little bit stronger, especially Shubin. He's actually going to start doing damage now. So we are getting to the point where DMO can consider actually going for these skirmishes and starting to fight against JDG.
Especially since Chalitza nearly has that Abyssal Mask completed as well. A little bit of help against Yagao. So they are starting to get to that stage. Actually just finished off for Chalitza there, that Abyssal Mask. So they can fight, and they may need to, because DMO are starting to, or sorry, JDG are starting to posture around this battle.
Oh, they found a pick. The magical journey is mystical and wonderful, and Twyla hates his life right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Tries to back away, trying to play it smart, but JDG are already in the jungle, and now you're a man down as, well, Loken's trying to finish off red, but see again, JDG completely controlled Baron.
That pick just nudged the chart up by 2 or 3% right there. The kid was like, I like that pick. That's a good pick. Hang on, Zoom's in trouble though. Cyclone to knock up Xiaopeng. Flashes away from the call of the Forge God. Xiaopeng not willing to commit to this one though. Sonic Wave landed, but he knows the Cyclone was there, and in the meantime, JDG pressured the mid lane.
But again, DMO are blowing these big ultimates and not getting anything from them. Now JDG are happy to pressure in this mid lane, because all they have to try and avoid is the hook from Mitsuki. And when we talked about, look, Loken is on this immobile AD carry. You've no flash on Kanavi. You need to be using these ultimates as DMO in team fights so you can try and capitalize on these plays, rather than throwing them out, trying to get Zoom. And Zoom without flash doesn't really matter when you're trying to come back from behind.
And you have to look at how these two teams actually want to start a fight, right? As you rightly mentioned, with that Ornn ultimate on cooldown, all you can really rely on is Mitsuki finding a miracle hook. And Zoom has been, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about that one. Just CC'd finished off. Yagao teleports in. Xiaopeng going to be jumping over to the rest of his team. Safeguard available. Knock up only onto one. DMO are going to get away with this one, so nice capitalization here.
But I don't understand why JDG are committing to this. You just saw 3 members of DMO on the bottom side. You could just take Baron. But instead, they're TPing with Yagao into this bottom lane for a tower that, when all is said and done, if you protect it, it doesn't really matter.
Well, they did protect it.
But why? It's a bit of
Just
gold.
for the bants, Dagda. It's for the bants, innit?
This is
no
our
man
Spring
left
Split champions.
behind.
But it's a structure. It's not even a man. It's inanimate.
Zoom isn't a man? How dare you? Look.
He was dead.
Okay, he's a monkey.
He died already. He was already left behind. He's been so far behind that he's back at the base respawning.
They had to get vengeance. Well, they had to at least try. It was about the emotional state of the team. It's not about the map state. It's about the morale.
Avenging Private Ryan is what we're at this stage.
Avenging Private Zoom.
Private Zoom.
But they didn't avenge him. It has to be mentioned. They failed miserably at avenging him.
This is the thing. This is our Spring Split champions. This is the team that we talked about being so incredibly smart in how they position their map, getting their waves in order, using that pressure to take wins without lifting a gun, an axe, whatever the hell they have on their squad. But again, this is not what we're seeing in this game. They're investing resources where they don't need to. They're not trying to play smart in this game. And it's really upsetting to see because we all had such high hopes for JDG coming into this semester.
And let's just like take it in context, right? There's still time. There is still time for JDG to get back on form. The big question though is just what happened? Like, how did they go from this team that was just like, I don't know, it felt like they were a hive mind. It felt like they were all on the same page at exactly the same time. They all knew the game plan. They all knew exactly how they wanted to play. Does not feel like the same team right now.
Yigao is in behind DMO here. This could be perfect angle for him.
They're going to go for the straight-up 5v5. Chalitza gets the knock-up onto Loken in the meantime. And Yigao can't actually finish anyone off. Zoom with a huge Cyclone, though. Oh, and he's won the fight by himself. Look at that. Double on the monkey. Chalitza cut down as well. And that is Baron open wide for JDG.
They can move over towards that Baron. They actually have Yigao moving down, maybe, to go and pressure on towards this Dragon, but it decides instead with a couple members of DMO still up, they don't want to try and trifle with it.
Xiaopeng and Shubin here, moving on into the side, but Yigao is there to stop them contesting. He's trying to start the fight himself, but Zoom's in trouble. Damage coming on through, but Shubin can't quite finish the kill. Sonic Wave there, but that's the smite now, unavailable for the fight. Loken with the 1v1, one more auto, but he can't quite find it. This is what you were talking about. Oh, the Calibrum snipe!
They just about managed to get Shubin. They will get that Baron. They will get the Dragon, putting them onto Soul Point as well. And heroic effort from Xiaopeng and from Shubin to try and stall that, try and stop them from being able to take that objective. But it's not going to be enough. We may still have more fighting on our hands.
I feel like Shubin should have won that 1v1 though. He just needed to dodge the Calibrum. Like, in that situation where there's no minions, there's nothing to block the Qs, Ezreal should be winning that one. Shubin looking a little bit more like a bargain bin right now as the Dragon started up. Xiaopeng isn't here. This is just smiteable for the side of Kanavi. He doesn't have Flash, but he does have Smite. And that's going to be both neutral objectives here for JDG, and the gold lead is building up more and more and more.
It was a good fight from JDG, though, to start off where they could turn towards the Baron. You had Yigao well positioned, no wards available for DMO to spot out this Sylas. Takes away the kick from Xiaopeng, boots Twyla into the fight. You're going to see it here. And they end up looking great. So Twyla now has to burn his flash to get away from all the engage, which means when Zoom comes in now, all he's got is the Valkyrie, but it's not enough to get away from the Monkey King. And it's the rest of JDG then who can continue this aggressive stance forward and run through DMO.
And honestly, without Chalitza keeping Loken out of that fight, that would have been over a lot quicker and a lot more decisively. Really well played on the Ornn just to try and keep Loken away, but then he turns around, the fight's already over. His team's already dead, and it's already done so.
And when we talked about the kind of even scaling that we're coming into here for DMO versus JDG, well, Shubin's super far behind. Twyla as well is not really getting to a point where he's strong. So Loken has been so far accelerated. He's working towards that death stance now. He's in great shape.
Xiaopeng makes an effort for it, but it's not quite going to be able to get the kickback. It's just going to go sideways on that one. And now they're going to try and continue this fight. Anyway, Chalitza just charging on forward. Tempered Fate, though, ruins everything. JDG keep him at arm's length because they've got Yigao in the bottom lane right now, who is just going to be wailing all over this turret. He's got himself a Medjai's, he's got himself his Proto Drake and his Zhonya's. He is massive.
And he's got himself a Corki ult now as well, so to do some work underneath these structures. But now you're going to see JDG taking that turret top, moving in. Xiaopeng trying to make something happen on the bottom side. Means it's 4 versus 3 on the top.
Yigao could be in trouble though, because Xiaopeng wants to get on into him. Sonic Wave available, and he will land it onto Yigao, but he can't win this 1v1. Needs Twyla to catch up sooner rather than later. So News use Kingslayer will be able to keep him safe as Zoom comes in as well. Cyclone as he gets kicked away, but he still knocks up Xiaopeng, and Yigao finds the 1v1 in the meantime. Goodbye, the Baron minions blast him down.
And you're still losing top side as DMO as well. JDG are taking everything, Munch.
This is a disaster for DMO, and JDG once again break the base. As soon as these guys get Baron, they will take everything. Both sides of the map now being torn apart. They don't have minions in the mid wave, but they might be able to just keep things going anyway. I think that they're going to back away, though.
They're going to back. They've got what they came for, 2 inhibitors down. You've got a little bit of time before any of the objectives are up, but you can still pressure this mid lane super aggressively, have Zoom and Yigao escorting minions on both side lanes, and it becomes pretty much impossible for DMO to try and stop.
And like, I want to clarify something, as we've been pretty harsh towards JDG so far in this series. And for any of you guys at home that haven't been watching a lot of LPL, that aren't up to date on who these teams are, the reason we're being so critical of JDG while they're winning is that these guys won in spring being the smartest team in the LPL. And when you look at the standings, DMO currently are 0-4. They haven't won a single game in the LPL. When you compare those two teams, the very bottom of the barrel versus the spring champions, DMO shouldn't have a shoe-in. They shouldn't have any chance in this series.
Also, when Kanavi has been in the conversation of best jungler in the world, this is why we want to see so much from him, especially as the meta shifted towards these carry junglers. But it has been a far cry from the Kanavi that we saw in spring, where he's just not having the performances that we expected. The team is not enabling him to the same extent. And it felt like with the way things were going, JDG would be set to take on the world. Instead, we're getting this mixed bag from them, where yes, they're closing out this game, but it's been far from good.
It's the early games that have been the issue so far for JDG, but we could have a fight on our hands. Nice tempered fate from Luma. It's going to set everything up and flashes across the board, and everybody gets away. Loken knocked up. The Redemption is going to keep him healed up, and he's got his Bloodline passive, I'm sure, available to keep that lifesteal on the go. Shubin trying to get some poke down, but ultimately, nothing's going to land. Those two Ocean Drakes really working out for JDG.
Miguel back off in this top side, still trying to escort minions in, just creating numbers advantages in this middle.
And if this inhib falls, that might just be everything, honestly, in the way of JDG. Mitsuki misses the knock-up. They get onto Lumao, but he just hops over the wall and keeps himself safe. In the meantime, Yagao has a 1v1 with Xiaopeng that he's not going to win because he's kicked back and forced. He's outnumbered now. Can they finish this one off, though? Oh, the double Zonyas comes on through, keeps himself safe. And that's why we love the Silas coming in here. Twyla doing some work with the package. Loken's still alive, though, and that's all that matters for JDG as they start to cut everybody down. Shubin flashing to safety, but one more auto. He gets onto the fountain and keeps himself safe. That might just be enough here as they start to take some members down. Loken's still on the turrets, though, in the meantime. Shubin has got to do something about this Aphelios. The Nexus is going to fall. DMO down 2-0 as JDG grab themselves their second win.
JDG managed to find the second win of the series. It wasn't the best of early games, but still...